Hi, this is Steve, or Rocker Stevie One. Trying to figure out a stage name. Anyway, today I'd like to make a video, instructional video, basically, on use of the Gibson guitar. I have a Les Paul, but it has on it what's called a MIN-ETUNE, and the MIN-ETUNE is on the back of the headstock, and I'll show it to you. And that's what it looks like. Now, it has adjustments of tunings, 12 popular tunings, or programs, 6 of my own. And the battery, which pops out of the back, and I could even show you that now. You press here, just press it down. It pops out. You can remove it. It comes right out. And then there's a charger for it right over here. And here's the charger. When the charger turns green, you got full charge, and it should run about 80 to 100 times changes, basically. There's a booklet that makes sure this thing's put in right, so that you have the pull-up part on the outside so you can pull it out. So what we'll do is insert it and click it in, and you can hear it click in. And I'll give credits at the end of this. So there's the MIN-ETUNE. It's very lightweight. It was built in Germany. It's excellent. Thank you to Gibson, of course, for putting it on the guitar recently, basically. And thank you to Zounds for allowing me to test out several different guitars with this on it. This thing works fabulously. It has, sorry if I read out of this booklet here, but it is important. You have different banks in this thing, and they're different colors. And you can tune this thing by either tuning it single string, or you can tune it with a strum, and in about 6 seconds you can go from E to E flat to the main settings are let's see, it depends on, there's a coding, and if you look at this real closely, you're going to see there's an let's see, the A is at no, it runs the way a standard tuning is, E, A, D, G, B, E. And each one of those has a bank in it, and you have to have a card that translates it. And I didn't pull the card out, and I'm not going to bother getting out my case. The case is fabulous that comes with this guitar. It's made out of Canadian maple, and it's solid as a rock, and I would recommend it really highly. This guitar I would recommend really highly. The only thing I would like on it, which I didn't get, is the edging on the fretboard, which would have helped, but At my budget, I'm lucky I got a studio. And Zounds is great because they'll give you a 12 installment plan at times for these guitars. And will give you a really good discount if you work with them, and you can pay it off that way. Being not that wealthy right now because I'm not employed, I I only got the basic studio. But as you can see, when I got it from Zounds, they had a problem with it, and I contacted Gibson, and Zounds is willing to replace it, but instead I went the route of going through the warranty on it, and the warranty on this thing's a lifetime warranty, except for the electronics, which is a year. Um, but so far I've had it way over a year. I got it in 2013, so I haven't had a problem since. I've modified, the only thing I've modified on it is I switched the pickups, and that was a real difficult issue because of the length of the wires. In this guitar, they have snap-in pickups, which are fabulous. So I can change this guitar to Slash. Slash is my adopted mentor and favorite guitarist right now. In the old days, it was, I guess, Jimmy Page. Um, I've been to lots of concerts, and I've heard lots of different people play, including Jimi Hendrix. And this is the best sounding guitar. I wouldn't trade this for a Fender. I'm sorry, Fender, but Fenders are great too. But this thing has such clarity. It also has standard switching. So your switching up would be your volume and your tone. Down would be your volume and your tone. And mid are both pickups. And I switched them because I wanted the sound to come out more from here, so I switch it up. And as you can see a lot, what happens when Slash is playing is his switch is up, and he's getting the sound that he's getting, so he's doing something. They also sell snap-ins. They have there are some on the market now. There should be more, but they have Slashes. Angus has one now from AC/DC. Um, there are other very good ones out there that can be replaced very easily on this guitar. All you do is remove the covers, pull out the pickup, and put the new one in and snap it in. The problem with switching a bottom to the top, the bridge to the neck, was the length of the wires. And I snapped the ground, so I had to work with that and finally got it reattached. I had to do some work on the bridge here. There's very easy controls on it. I want to thank Benton Cummings at customer support. This guitar was built. It's spotless. It's fabulous. It's made out of a fabulous wood. The MIN-ETUNE was made in Germany. The Germans are getting into some very good music software also. But they built this thing, and it's 40-to-1 ratio, which means it's not going to go out of tune too easily. I play it in E flat most of the time, which is the way Slash plays his. The guitar itself is fabulous. And if you work with Zounds, they have a 30-day return policy, and they don't argue with you about it. But the guitar has all sorts of inspections done on it. This is a 2013 Robo Wine Red, and I couldn't believe it when Benton Cummings gave me a brand new guitar. He had this thing built and sent it to me, which I really appreciate. And I thanked him for it and sent off a gift. And as you can see, I have lots of notes and all sorts of things from it. Payments are not bad when you go into a 12 payment plan. Almost anybody should be able to afford it. The coding on the back, just at a reference, there's a stamp on the back. It's very easy to tell whether or not someone screwed around with it. There's a special meaning to it, and it's at the very top of the headstock. You can see it. If you look real closely, you can see the number written at the top. And that number, if you can see it, signifies when this thing was built, actually. This guitar was built a certain date and then inspected another date and then shipped off after it went through a full checklist of unbelievable scrutiny. There's a gold warranty that comes with it. It's a lifetime warranty. If, let's say, something happens to the neck, some of the parts are glued together, but I trust it. It's a Gibson. It's this guitar is the exterior replacement. This was the 186th guitar, as it's stamped, produced, and it tells you where it was produced, which was Nashville factory, on July 20th, 2013. And then it was inspected on December 30th, 2013, which comes in the shipping papers. But the coding on the back tells you the number on that day of these guitars that were built, and which one it was, and where it was produced, and the date it was produced. And for someone to try to get rid of that, it would be very easily to detect. The 12 payment plan is great, and they're very, very, Zounds is terrific. You can look them up on the web, zzOUNDS.com. I'll give more credits at the end. And they really worked with me well because I'm on a very low income, and here I am with this guitar, but I got it at a fabulous price. And it's constructed with it's carved maple top, and as you can see, this is not a thin maple top, and it's almost as though it was a solid piece. I couldn't tell because usually they're split, so the person that put this together must have been one of their best at the factory and just matched it perfectly. It's incredible. I let someone play it, and that was a big mistake. And be careful with your belt buckles and stuff, not to scratch it. I took off the pick guard, and there are some scratches on it, but I'm not worried about it. There was some damage here when I changed the pickups around, and hopefully when I get some money, I might get some, I forgot what they are. Anyway, they run around $150 for a pickup. I think it's for each pickup. And really what I'd like to do is replace the replace the neck one. Well, the one that I damaged But it's not because I damaged it. It's just I'll get a better sound out of it. But I'm research. You could research it online which ones are available. They're called snap-ins. Just put the thing in and snap it into a socket. It takes 2 seconds. Um, Most people that have even played this, which are very few, I won't let anybody play this guitar again, ever, uh, and damage it. And I try my best to protect it. Slash, of course, with all the playing he does, and I guess the royalties, is able to afford. The back of some of his guitars are not even there, which affects the sound, which is probably good. So you have your carved maple top, and you can see how thick it is. It must be about an eighth to a quarter of an inch. It's made out of mahogany. Mahogany is going to give you the best sound, but now what they're doing is they're not solid. But this thing weighs a lot. Even being not solid, there must be some air baffles in it that will keep it from being so heavy. This is called a slim taper neck profile. Uh, it's a glued-in neck joint. The pickups are 490 Rs and 408 Ts. And it's a 24.75 scale length. It's 1.65 inches at the nut. It's a Grenadillo fretboard, but I think this is rosewood. I really do. At times, and I've heard from other of my colleagues that play guitar, that Gibson will put in, they won't put in a less higher quality, but they'll put in a more higher quality at times. Someone I know opened up his guitar and found like Burstbuckers. Those are the ones. I think you can get snap-ins on those, both Burstbucker Pros, instead of higher quality. Pickup. There's only your standard 22 frets. As you'll see, I'll show you I built, I customized a Yamaha I picked up at a pawn shop that was in mint condition, and customized it and made it into a Gibson SG. It's a Yamaha RG, but it has a tremolo on it, and I have 6 pickups on it. I have 2 humbuckers on it, which I don't even know what they are, because they're old, and those had to be all soldered. Everything had to be soldered in there, but I was able to put in orange caps, which are about this big, so I had to route out some of it and put in 4 of the dials and a switch, just like on an SG. I think on my Yamaha, it's the switch is down where it's below where the SG switch usually is. I think it's at the top above, but I'll show that later. Also, it had a Floyd Rose tremolo on it, and I modified that according to colleagues that told me how to do that, because the way it was originally set up, I was breaking the holders. You had to cut off the end of the string and bend it, and then crank it in with a special device. The guitar comes with your standard. Um, this is for the underneath here. If you unscrew the top here, you're going to find your rod to straighten the neck if you need to. There are ways to make sure that your distances are correct. It's real important that the setup on this thing is very important. On any guitar, you have to set it up. Either have a pro do it. Being poor as I am, I have to do it on my own, so I learned about it, and you can learn most of that on YouTube. There are some very good instructors on YouTube. Slash has been doing a terrific job. Last time I saw him, I stood right in front of him, and he held his guitar out right in front of me and showed me everything he was doing. Changed my whole technique. He's changed even his pick to a thicker one. He's known for his thick, heavy picks, but he's playing in E flat most of the time. But this is as you can see, a Tortex. It's a Dunlop, but it's a 1.14, which to me, that's the highest you're going to go. I still like the one that he used to use, which is a Fender Heavy, which is this pick. And this one is, I think, a 1.0 or a 1.05 or something. But these are 1.14. You're going to get more control over it. And thank you, Slash, for all that instruction. I had like a 2-hour lesson with him standing in front of me and his pedal and how he uses it. And as you all know, probably, he holds his guitar out. But he really did a job at this concert. Everybody was yelling. They wanted to hear Miles Kennedy and the rest of the band a little more. And he cranked, every time we screamed, he cranked his volume. You could see him take his pinky and crank up his volume. Because after all, he is the feet. And the guy, the man. This has push-pull volumes. It says in the literature it's push-pull tone. These are push-pull volumes, which you can pull out. It's going to go down. These are 500 ohm, and you can reduce it to 250 by pulling it up. So when you go into lead, all you got to do is knock it down. Is a way to do it. Slash does it. He has his own backstage man that will up his decibels by 15 decibels for him, and someday maybe I'll be able to have that too. But in the meantime, I gotta play it on my own. All he does is play guitar. Basically, I think he could play guitar without the pedal. The guy's I think the best right now. And I put him second to Jimmy Page, and I've seen Jimmy Page plenty of times. Hendrix was a long time ago, and I saw him at the Fillmore right before he passed on. May he rest in peace. But I remember it was very intense. The sound hole, they call it a sound hole. The sound hole on this guitar is here, so when you're tuning it, if you're tuning it string by string, you tune it up here and you tune it by finger. It has 22 jumbo frets, a Switchcraft 3-way selector, neck and bridge pickup volume knobs, push-pull volume pots, potentiometers, 2-pneumatic stop bar bridge, which is great because this is all very easily adjustable. Simple, very simple to work with. And I'm going to show you how to string it for anybody that's having problems. Some people are afraid of computers. It takes a learning curve how to work this thing. And just have patience. And eventually you'll be able to do it in the dark on stage and feel for what you got to press. Sometimes you're going to press the wrong buttons. They're very close together, and I'll show them to you. But basically, I want to show you how to work that, and that's it. Vintage style tuners and that case, you could smash it and stand on it. It's unbelievable. It's as heavy as the guitar, so I'm usually lugging around about 40 pounds. Figure, because this guitar must weigh about 20, and then the case is probably about another 20, and that comes with the guitar. It's a hard shell case. The chrome covers, give or take, they can be removed. All there is 2 soldering points, and all I got to do is melt them, expose it. But in the meantime, I'm just going to leave this baby alone. I never thought I would touch it altogether, but I just wanted to try putting these things out of phase. You can also do that by pulling up and having one down. It puts it out of phase also. It's very hard to see the numbers on these, so eventually you just ought to learn. And hopefully I'll change those at some point so I could see them in the dark a little better. The tuners, again, they're 40 to 1, which means you got to turn 40 times. You can do it manually, or it'll do it by itself automatically. That's the gear ratio. It's a lithium battery, very light. The guitar will, I mean, if you hang it, it's going to hang headstock heavy, but I use this usually with my Marshall behind me. It's a class 5 valve amp with tubes. Very simple. It's 5 watts, but you have to have 16 ohm input, and it also has a switch for headphones. It's Dr. Mark. I didn't know he's a doctor, but it's Dr. Marshall. Did a great job. The hardware is all chrome. The neck is mahogany, and I still think this is rosewood. It's just the color of it. I've had Grenadillo. Grenadillo is okay. Grenadillo is harder, and it will have more of a tendency to crack, but maintenance on these things is super, super important. You have to maintain a guitar if you want it to last. And so I'm always oiling the bare wood. The covering is a real strange material. It's a lacquer, but it's a special type of lacquer. It's not just a plain lacquer. It's a special type of lacquer. It's not anything heavier than that, but it's very durable. And when I fix it, I have wax that I can fill it with, like when I removed the pick guard. There are 12 factory stored preset tunings, so that there are 2 banks. Basically, you can easily switch from your standard tuning, which is an E, to a G, and use a slide in about 6 seconds. There are 2 ways to tune it. You can tune it string by string, or you can tune it just by a strum, and I'll show you how to do that in a little while I'm changing the strings. The neck is great, easy to slide on. I make sure it's nice and slippery, and the strings too. Dr. Marshall says he made this amplifier behind me. He said it's a Class A topology, are known for their generous second harmonic distortion, which is pleasant to the ear. It has overdrive tonality, and he recommends cranking the amp to its full, deceiving, respectable output, and that gives you your distortions on it. It has 2 ECC83, which are 12AX7 double triode preamps, and single EL84. I called about changing them out, and they said no. It's 5 watts, but it puts out 15 amps, but the Celestion, it's a matching Celestion speaker cab that came with it, and that is I think it says 30 on it or something like that. So I'm a little confused about it. But anyway, it's very lightweight, easy to carry on the road and work with. And that's the Marshall Class 5 amp and the Marshall C110 Class 5 guitar speaker cabinet. They're saying it's 15 watts, and it's at, let's see how many ohms. It's at 16 ohms. So make sure whenever you're plugging this thing in, whenever you're putting your setup together, always have a speaker attached or a headphone, and the headphone switched over when you plug it in, because if you don't and you put on your power is accidentally on, it will burn out your tubes. The custom fabulous amp, I got a custom what's called a double barrel 30 watt. Those are 12s. There are two 12s in that bottom amplifier, which you may or may not be able to see. That's a solid state down there. And I've hooked the two of them together. It has an output that I could hook to the input of the Marshall, and then the police show up, usually. But I've been to court, and I won because of neighbor problems, complaining of sound, but I disconnected the bottom one. But between connecting the two together, the bottom one has distortions in it and overdrive. My pedal broke. I need to pick up one, and I think I may get Slashes. The bottom cabinet I also customized and made it so that I can hook directly into the speakers that are in there, bypassing the distortions, or use the head. It's a combo. And on the back there's a speaker output, a line out, a headphone, and a CD tape input. But it's great, 60 watts, and will blow anybody away. There's a lead and a clean switch, your equalizer, and then effects are delay and reverb and a chorus. And it's fabulous. It works real well. This is a schematic of the thing. And I worked with that and redid parts of it so that I could plug in directly into the speakers, which I want to do at times. Sometimes I'm doing music software, which I haven't done in a long time. I'm concentrating more on playing. But thank you, Custom. So I guess I'm getting my credits in. They're 12-inch, 16 ohm, and each one's 30. So it makes it a total of 60. And then you use the line out. You can use the line out and put it into your head on another one. And evidently, from what I understand, Slash actually, his output goes to his pedal. From his pedal, they have a splitter that goes to, first it goes to effects, pedal to effects. I have them all written down, and there's someone backstage using that. All he's doing is working his pedal and switches. There's plenty to do just to play guitar. I don't even want to sing, and I'm encouraged to do that, and it's very hard for me. It's like chewing gum and walking. But highly recommended. I think this is German also, and it's excellent. And they've been terrific in terms of their support. They sent me a free plug, and I don't even need it anymore for the plug-in on it. I also want to thank Guitar Rig. Again, this is German software now. Guitar Rig and Ableton. A good formula to know if you ever want to test your outputs and play around with what these knobs are doing. This is what it is. That's your formula. And if you use that formula and a voltmeter and an ohm meter, you can actually figure out what your power is, which is your watts, your ohms, and that's what you're looking for, the power on it. Today I'm going to string with these. Thank you, Ernie Ball. I do start with 11s, but also an excellent string is the Gibsons. The Gibsons have a Heritage, which is excellent, and it came with silver something. Thank you, Citibank, for thank you rewards. I got lots of different picks and strings and stuff like that from them. They are, which I found real nice. The Heritages are great, and if you take them into, again, thank you to Guitar Center. There's one in Manchester near me, and I live in Enfield, Connecticut, and they'll take the price of what you get online at Sounds. But if most of the time I like to just work through Sounds. If you go over $250, I think it is, you can get a minimum 4 payment plans, and they're very lenient on it. The mic I use is a Pile. I need a better one. It's a moving coil dynamic, again, that I got as a reward. Best Buy, thank you for some picks. Definitely Walmart. Walmart was great online. You go online to Walmart and you can pick up all sorts of things for guitars, or used to. I don't know if they still do, but I got a connector through them. Thank you, UPS. UPS were the ones that shipped this thing, and UPS has been terrific in that respect. And that's basically it. So let's get to work. So, the back of the guitar, we got a MIN-ETUNE, and the MIN-ETUNE has lots of buttons on it. This bottom button down here is on off. The bottom button, and I can just feel for them usually now. Bottom button down here is on off. If you hold it, you're going to see lights come on, and the first light that came on is the tuning that it's in, which said B, which is an E flat. And all I do is, like I said, you go to the sound hole, turns green, A, green. As you can see, they're turning by themselves. You want to get a good stroke on it. Usually I do the two of them. I do it twice. And you can't have it touch anything. And when they blink and go off, it means it's in tune. Like I said, up here it says B. B means E flat. E down here, if it lights up first, that means you're in standard tuning. And it has other tunings, and then like I said, there are banks. There's a way to automatically turn the tuning machines, and you can also do them manually, and you're going to see the way that the strings go on. Never take them all off, and what we'll do today is start with, let's see, I can get this up. We'll start with, let's say, I could probably just bring this into a higher focus like that. These strings won't ever slip. They, and usually what I'll do is I'll take 2 off. I'll take up, like, I'll put on a 5 and a 2 or something, a 5 and a 3, and work from there. So what I'll do is that's an 11. Goes 11, 14 on the Ernie balls on the 11s. So I'm going to take a 14 and I'm going to take a 38, which is an A. So the 14 is a B and the 38 is a B. No, the 38 is an A. So basically what you need to do is go into the computer. Okay, this is a little tricky. You turn it on. Okay, press the button down here. It's gonna light up. Press it again. Then you go to the upper and hold it in, and it'll turn white, as you can see there. Double press this, and basically now what I have is control of the of each one of these to turn it, because I want to loosen them before I change them. So I go, this will control the upper button, upper arrow here. Now I'm going to go up to B, and then you go, and you got to watch this too, because you don't want to pull on this thing too much, and make sure that it's loosening. That's tightening it. I'm doing the A, and as you can see, the A is loosening. I'm looking for a special spot on it, because I'll show you in a minute why. Okay, that's the A, and then we're going to go up to the B, and what we'll do is loosen that one too. But always check that you're not pulling these things too tight. It can get complicated. And I'm trying to what's called line it up. Sometimes you gotta press it a couple of times. Make sure it's fully charged before you do this too. And then turn it off. Otherwise what's gonna happen is it's gonna try to tune itself. And you don't want it to do that. So now we turn it around. So I got a loose A. All you do is take a coin right here. Let's get this thing centered a little bit. Take a coin, insert it in the top. Just be gentle with these things. Turn it to loosen it, and it'll come off. Try not to drop it because they're hard to find. I have extra ones, of course. And then just hand turn it. And so now I'm always checking to make sure I'm on the right string. As you can see, it's loose already. This will come off. I'm unscrewing it. It's my A string. And I dropped it. So now I'm going to have to find it. I heard it hit something. So I got to figure out where. But this carpet is horrible. It bounces stuff. And hopefully this is going to be a big problem because I hate it. Oh, here it is. Good. Thank you, heaven. So put that on the side. And what you want to do is basically unwind it. And as you can see, let's see, wait, we're on A. Here's A. I've lined it up, and I'll show you in a minute what I'm talking about. Should be loose enough to get this off. Over the top. But once it's locked on, it's locked on. If I have to loosen it more, I will. Like I said, I can hand turn it. And you can see there are slots here. You want those slots perpendicular to the fretboard. So that'll loosen it a little bit more to get it off. Another tool that you're going to need is a clipper, wire clipper. And I would definitely recommend to get, down it goes. Alright, let me just hold it here. Come on now. It's getting caught up on the end here. I bleed a lot when I sometimes use these because the points get very sharp. But you're going to be cutting this very close. Try not to use tools on it. They can damage the finish. And I would recommend changing these fairly frequently. That's just blocking it. And it's out of its slot. And it's come. Because it goes around the bottom and then around the top. Okay, it's off. Straighten this because you're going to be pulling it through the back. What I may do to keep this so it's not too tedious and too long for you is show you two changes. I'll change just these two strings. I can do the rest on my own because I'm learning 30 years to life, and I want to have new strings on this. These strings have lasted unbelievable amount of time than the silver lights or whatever, but they're still very good strings, silver. And these I save usually. They're very hard to put back on. You need to use an instrument to pull them through. The instrument I was talking about that I would highly recommend, it's a Planet Ways. You need a clipper that you can get in real close because these cannot touch each other at all. And when you're tuning it, and you can't even touch the strings except for the string that you're trying to tune. So you have to cut these short, but there's no problem with it because they never slip. They can't, as you'll see in a minute. And what I'll do is wind it up. The A. Again, I'm always double checking, making sure. But this should be the A. This is a 38. Because it goes to 48. Take the new one out. Put the old one in. I've done it. I mean, it'll work if you use a clamp on it, but you gotta be very careful, like I said, with any heavy duty instruments. If you're using a clamp on a guitar, wait till you see how this thing goes on. So we start at the bottom with the new string. Which are vacuum packed and shouldn't corrode. From what I hear, Slash, as you can see, he sweats a lot. They just work hard, these guys. Very hard. And that's what it takes. A lot of work. You put it in through the backstop. Okay, that goes easy. Try to do everything by hand. I have instruments, but I try not to use them. What I do at this point too sometimes is clean it. Today I'm not gonna. I use Q-tips and I clean it off. Sometimes I'll take emery cloth and go through the slot and make sure the slot is nice and smooth. And make sure you line up. I just found out recently that if you look down the guitar, everything is straight. Because if this is off center, by one being higher or lower, and it's not properly centered, you're going to snap strings. You pull it up, okay, as far as you can, over the slot. Now is where it gets tricky. Okay, like I said, there's a special way to put this thing on. You come up, make sure it's tight. These slots I usually clean. I don't file them, but I clean them. And usually I'll tighten down the nuts on this just a little bit, but I'm not going to today. You want to approach this thing, let's see, on the outside, you come around. Now this is where it's real important. You want to pull tight, okay? Yeah, B string's real loose. Pull real as tight as you can with your hands, and you're on the there's a little piece here, as you can see. It has two slots, and there's a part here. You go around 3/4 and up and around an entire turn, pulling as you're going, pulling. Get that sucker down on top. And then you want to, since we're turning it, the screw on, this thing's going to start to rise up. So these I put on by pulling down a little bit, because it's going to go up automatically, because you want it at the place where that entered. And then we put the cap back on by hand. And we'll tighten it down at the very end with the coin. And just be gentle on it. And it locks it in. So these I pulled down a little further than they're supposed to go. Just the one turn. So you go 3/4 around on the inside, on this side. Tighten it. And then take your coin and tighten it down tight. Or snug. I like the word snug. If I can find the coin. Take the coin, and as you're going to see, what's going to happen is as I'm tightening it down, it's going to try to pull it up. So try to hold it down. There's supposed to be exactly where the point where it came up in the slot, and this tightens it down and locks it, like locks it solid. And pretty much, I'm very sure that I know what I'm doing here. I'm going to clip it before I tune it. But I'll put the other one on first. See, you don't want to strip them, and you want it on, and that's it. And I'm going to cut that thing right here, right at the very, as close as you can get, because you don't want it touching another string. at all. So that's the way it's going to look. Let's take off the B string. The thing is tightened down pretty well. Once you get it loose enough, use your hand. Try to use your hand as much as you can. Not get stuck by the end of it. This is definitely going to be loose enough to easily remove. And hopefully I won't drop it this time. Put it down. Like I said, you don't want to remove all the strings. That just popped right off. Now, what I'll do is again straighten this. Sometimes where I get stuck. But any instruments are going to damage this if I ever have to reuse it. The odds are I won't reuse this. And then you just drop it out through the bottom. You're going to see when they snap, the bottom part will just come out. And you pull it out. Gently. I'm going to rewind it because you never know. I've even tied these things together because I'm a fisherman, and you can tie on parts as long as they're above the nut, and they've held and worked. And then I'm going to take a B string, which on this Ernie Balls is 14 instead of a 13. Put this in. Don't mix them up. Put this in. Unravel this, which is, they're very lightly raveled, and they're going to snap out because they're springy. Good string, a very good string. The magnetic ones I've used, I don't care for. The coated ones I've used, I don't care for. Plastic comes off of them. Okay, it's like threading a needle. You pull through all the way. Okay, you'll feel it lock in there, and you can look through the bottom and you'll see it, but I can feel it. I'm going to come up, lower this thing again, and then I'll show you how to tighten them. And they're going to automatically tighten at one point, plus or minus 10% of the tension it's supposed to be at. Put it in a slot. Again, inside. I gotta get these off. Put it in the slot. Make sure everything's lined up right. Make sure it's still in the slot down below. Because if you tighten it and it's not, it's really gonna. Any damage to the string can cause it to snap or break. Make sure it's in there. Like I said, sometimes I do emery cloth them, and I'll tighten the nut at the top just a little bit up here, but I'm very careful about that. So you go inside the bottom, okay, inside the bottom 3/4 around, pull. This is a lot easier because it's going to turn. You'll see in a minute. Come up through the slot and around all the way back. Keep it low around the top. Come all the way around, but this time you're going to want it straight out or a little higher, because the screw, the nut that goes on is going to turn it down and put it exactly into place. And then I put this on. I want to make sure you don't strip these. So you make sure to turn it on nice and easy. And with a string like this, just pull as much as you can. Don't use an instrument. And you'll feel it tighten up. So I got it around the bottom part. And then I always check. It's around the bottom, up through the slot, around the top. And then it locks. And as you can see, it's turning it down towards where it first came in through the slot, which is where you want it. Take a coin, tighten it. Again, I'm always checking to make sure the slots are where everything's in the slot. And that's it, just snug. That's it. It's done. And then I'll go around and I'll snug them all again once it's all tuned. Just snug them up. Don't use a wrench, just a point that fits in there. And I'm going to cut these. And as you can see, this cutter is fabulous. I mean, you just put it on the string, okay, open it up, put it on the string, and get it in close. And it's hard to believe, but you get it in as close as you can get it, and just press. And that's leftover string. And the same on the other side, so that nothing touches anything else. That's that. Now, let's go back to the MIN-ETUNE, and I'll just do two of them. We did the B and the A. So we're going to turn, so here's the trick again. Let's just see this nice and closely. You turn it on here. Okay, here's your on off. Press it in. Hold it. It'll go to the bottom. Press it again. Go to the top and hold it in until it turns white. Okay. Double press the center. And now I have control that should be blinking. I'm not too happy about that. But anyway, let's see what happens. Yeah, see, it's blinking now. And make sure you're tightening it. So watch the front. Make sure you're in your slots. And while it's blinking, it'll tighten. Okay, that's the wrong side. And what it's doing with this, see, now it's so close to the real tuning, you see it turn green. Now I'm going to go up to the B. It'll tune itself. Up to the B, which was the other string I changed. And one of these days I'll figure out which is tightening and which isn't. And I want that to turn green, but I'm going to feel it as I'm going. Wrong way. Wrong way. And that's tightening it around the bottom. And if you go to if it's close enough, it's going to tune itself. And there we are, green. Thank you. I hope you all learned something. Again, I want to give credit to, turn it off. And then I'll replace the rest of the strings. But right now it seems I'm tuning it in, again, to get back to this. When you press the first light that comes on, it's telling you what tuning you're in. It's in E flat. And what we'll do is turn it off. You just hold the button in and it turns off. After you're done, remove the battery. Okay. Here's the charger. You remove the battery, like I showed you before. Plug it in, because it uses a lot of power, because you're using the machines in this. You're using the motors, and recharge it. And it's ready to go for about 80 to 100 retunings. I hope you all had fun and learned something. I'm sure there are a lot of videos out on this. And hopefully I'll be playing 30 Years to Life soon and recording it for my YouTube channel when I create a name for it. I had one and gave up on Google, and now I'm back on Google again. Thank you. Have a great day. Keep practicing. Maintain your guitar. And Zach Wild, thank you too. He has a lot of instructional materials out on YouTube on how to work the strings. It's all in how you're playing the guitar, your vibratos, your bends, your slides. I even built a new gadget. I mean, be creative. I built a gadget that is going to go on my pinky. I don't care about patenting and stuff. Shit. For chicken picking, so I can pick, and then it works, and it'll pick. I have to make my own things. I make my own cables. It's the air and the copper that causes problems. You want good cables, insulated. I've seen cables that are double insulated. Wound copper can be okay. I've gone as far as to use coaxial cable, but it's just not flexible enough. So I'm using wound wire. So that's it for that. And I hope I gave everybody their credits. Miles Kennedy, thank you for the lyrics and your voice. Brent, for the drumming. Todd, you're great. Bass guitar player, the ambassador. And Frank, for rhythm. They're playing Rhode Island this year. First concert of the tour. I hope to be there. Last one was, he's played Hampton Beach Casino a couple of times. Last one I was an hour late. I forgot my timing on it. But I got a video that I won't share. It is just fabulous. And hopefully, Slash, you recognize me by now. I've been in front of you, standing there watching you enough times. Last time I was at a concert, he hit me center chest. This is no joke, with his pick. I don't have it on me now. I wear it. Center chest. I must have been 50 yards from him. So I have to practice that. Throwing picks, I guess. Just quickly, this is the Yamaha. And like I said, I try to build my own stuff. is an old stand for, I think a citronella, something like that. And then I put in some foam at the bottom. And this is the first time I've been trying to get it off. That's in there. This is a great guitar. This has 22 frets. It was in mint condition when I got it. And I've had it for about 10 years, this guitar. And it's completely rebuilt. I put in, as you can see, the two original humbuckers are here and here. Then I put in two Fender singles, solder them together underneath. This had a 5-way switch that was here, and I put in 4 switches, which switch, the switch toggle switch down here, which hasn't been working well. As you can see, I routed it out a little too much down there. I gotta fill it, but I do have a Floyd Rose on it, which is nice to have. And this has 24 frets, so you have 2 octaves on this guitar, and different shape. I don't know if you can see the orange caps. They're .074s. They're tremendous power. I blew out a system at, you can see the orange here on one of them. There are 2 in there. And I'm glad too, because the people I was playing with, the venue, I was not happy with. Don't let anybody push you around. Play where people want you to play. Stevie Ray Vaughan played, there's a video in Switzerland, and he was being booed, and that year he won the Emmy. So just keep practicing, and like all my colleagues say, you're there to have fun and to entertain, of course. That's my major goal. I want to make people happy. And I was listening to Slash the other day, and he said he thinks about that, and that's very important, and it's a major reason to play. You're hitting a lot of people, and happiness and health go together hand in hand. Even if people are stoned and drunk or whatever they are, just cheer people up. Visit people in the hospital. It'll give them an extra day. It may give them an extra year. Make people laugh. I served 20 years for the government as an environmental engineer protecting human health and the environment. I went to med school. I was going to be a doctor. And those are the days when I was drinking and carrying on and going to concerts instead. So I have all that training, and I wound up where I wanted to be. This is what I want to do. I grew up in Brooklyn. In Brooklyn, you don't get married, you don't play guitar, you don't ride motorcycles. When I went away to Georgetown and Washington, D.C., first thing I got was a motorcycle and a guitar. Back when I was 19, 18, whatever. I skipped a year. So keep playing, keep practicing, and have fun. Health, happiness, and prosperity. Love you all. Thanks. Hope you like this video.